I'm Dr. David E. Clarke, and this is the introductory video to my How to Counsel video series. Dr. David E. Clarke teaches counseling. A very simple and direct title, a lot like me and my approach to counseling. I'm a Christian psychologist who's been in private practice since 1986 in Tampa, Florida. That's 35 years. I've got a master's degree in biblical studies from Dallas Theological Seminary. I have a PhD in clinical psychology from Western Conservative Baptist Seminary. And I'm a licensed psychologist in the state of Florida, have been for 35 years. Now, the most important thing about me is that I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And I'm still working with people full time here in my office. This is my studio/office. The blue couch is back there. People sit there. Never in my special chair, which you can't see. It's out of frame. And, of course, in my phone advice sessions. Although my specialty is marital crisis, I've seen just about every individual and marital relationship problem over the years. So you name it, I've seen it, I've worked with it. I've written 15 books, most on marriage. Check out my resources, of course. That's what the website is for, davideclarkephd.com. That's Clarke with an E. Now, why this video series? I've learned a lot in 35 years of working with individuals and couples, and I decided it was time to share what I've learned in this How to Counsel series. I've learned what not to do and what to do in the counseling process. And over the years, I see many counselors, both professional and non-professional, make the same mistakes over and over again in their counseling ministries. These mistakes make the counseling ineffective. People don't change. And these mistakes cause the counselors themselves to burn out. Real damage is done to the counselors. I've made every one of the mistakes I'm going to mention in this series, so I'm not throwing any stones. But I've learned the hard way what doesn't work and what works in the counseling process. Now, what I'm going to teach you will make you an effective counselor and help you avoid burnout, and both of those are important. Burnout is an extremely serious problem in the counseling ranks. Now, who is this series designed for? Bottom line, if you feel called by God to counsel, this series is for you. It is for every level of counselor. It's for non-professional counselors. You don't have a master's degree. You don't have a doctorate in psychology. You are not counseling for a living. But the truth is, only a fraction of people who need counseling will work with a professional licensed therapist. God uses all types of non-professional counselors to help people change. Always has, and he always will. If you're on this list of non-professional counselors, this series is for you. Senior pastors, associate pastors, youth pastors, other pastors on the staff of a church, no matter what your role is, support staff at a church who often come into contact and counsel people, church leaders of every type and description, elders, deacons, small group leaders, Sunday school teachers, men's ministry leaders, women's ministry leaders, marriage ministry leaders, Celebrate Recovery leaders, divorce care leaders, lay counselors. You've heard of the Stephen's ministry. Any kind of lay counselor would be very helpful for you. Pastoral counselors, life coaches, chaplains. This series is also for new, inexperienced professional therapists. I guarantee you that you are not taught many of these principles in your schooling. I sure wasn't. I had to learn it the hard way. This series is also for experienced professional therapists. Many experienced therapists make key mistakes that limit their effectiveness. They've been trained, they have degrees, they're doing it for a living, but they make mistakes. This series is for you if you are considering becoming a counselor. You're seeking God's direction. Should I go into counseling? Dear God. Whether you will be a non-professional or a professional counselor, this series will help you make that decision. It'll help you realize what it takes to be an effective counselor and if you are gifted to be a counselor. Now, as you'll see in this series, I do not follow the traditional popular Christian party line when it comes to counseling. If something isn't biblical, I won't recommend it. And many things the Christian community recommends are frankly not biblical. They think they are, they're not. If something doesn't work, I won't recommend it. And many things the Christian community recommends don't work. I'll be covering that in this series as well. I'm not the usual Christian counselor. I'm not sweet. I'm not passive. I'm not like super understanding. I'm not gracious. I'm not patient. I am spontaneous, funny, edgy, straightforward, active, and directive. I always have a plan. I tell people what to do. I have clear limits and boundaries. My work is usually short-term. I only talk to people who will do the work I ask them to do. Free country. You don't want to do the work, that's fine. I won't see you. I don't believe in theories. I believe in what works. Now, just like me, this video series is fast-paced. As you can tell, I talk fast. And it's also very intensely practical. Don't do this, do this. Here's what doesn't work. Here's what does work. Now, here's a quick overview of the 13-part video series. Here's where we're going. Here are the topics I'm going to cover. The 10 qualities of an effective counselor. Taking care of yourself because no one else will. Self-care is extremely important. What to do before you see clients. Setting up your counseling to be successful. What to do when you see clients, when you're actually working with clients. Do's and don'ts in the counseling process. I cover the first session in detail because it's a vitally important session. Then I go from the second session to the last session throughout the process. And then I end up with 7 plans for 7 crises. I go over the outlines of 7 of my books that are geared to these 7 crises. I believe you'll find this video series very helpful to you in your counseling ministry. These 13 videos represent my 35 years of experience as a Christian psychologist working with individuals and couples. Your counseling is important, it is valuable, it is needed, and God's gifted you to do it. I want you to do it right, I want you to be effective, and I don't want you to burn out, and I want you to glorify God in the process. That's ultimately what we do, why we do everything in this life. Now here's what you get when you buy the series. You get these 13 videos, of course. You get my notes for the series, my detailed notes for the series in downloadable form. You also get the forms that I use in my counseling process, just basic forms that may be helpful to you. You can also download those. My history form, guidelines to counseling, release form, and insurance receipt form. And you get 1 free 20-minute coaching session with me by phone. As part of the package, I'll answer your specific questions about my methods, about the process of counseling, about difficult cases you're working with, or about how to build a counseling ministry. So to purchase the whole How to Counsel package, go to my website, davideclarke.com, Clarke with an E. Of course, it'll be on the store. And to check out a free preview of the video course, simply click on the link.